What's going on, everybody? It's your favorite dating coach, Elliot Scott, and as you can see by the title below, I want to go a little more in depth on my videos from now on. Maybe talk more about context. I think everything's contextual, and if there's anything I want to be known for, it's context when it comes to dating, because I think there's more to meet the eye than this black and white kind of stuff that people tell you, such as 3 signs a guy likes you, 3 signs a guy's a player, 3 signs he's going to commit, 3 signs or 10 signs he's the one, like all that. There's context to things. Okay, and that's something I teach heavily in my course Attraction Academy, when it comes to a guy's emotional availability, what he's looking for, assets and liabilities, just attraction in general, and things like that. Okay, so the thing I want to talk about in this video is love bombing, and is it necessarily bad? I want you guys to know this because I feel like if you look at a lot of my videos, so I'm just as bad, to blame, and you look at a lot of dating coaches videos, I feel like we build up this witch hunt for when, oh man, he's a love bomber, he's emotionally unavailable. Like, I didn't hear the word emotionally unavailable or low ego man so much until I made 600 videos, right? And now everyone uses the term, but it's like, just because he's emotionally unavailable doesn't mean he's a bad guy. But a lot of people associate those things, right? It doesn't mean he's a bad guy, he's just emotionally unavailable. And so I kind of want to talk about the same thing with love bombing. So my definition of love bombing pretty much is it's a pacing thing. It's biting off more than you can chew with your words and actions, right? Very front heavy loading with things that a man or a woman does. In this context, we'll be talking about what men do. But women, you do it just as bad. And a lot of women automatically assume that if a guy love bombs you, he's a piece of shit. This guy's a piece of shit. How dare he love bomb me? Like, oh, I can't believe he did that. Elliot was right. And it's like, no, you took my shit out of context. Because here's the thing. I think love bombing it's not good, but it's not bad. It's just unfortunate. And the reason I say unfortunate is because it all comes down to intent with the guy. And there's so many guys out there who I do think when they do love bomb a woman, they don't think, oh, I'm just doing this to get in her pants, or I'm just doing this even if he's sexual, he's not just there's no malicious intent. If there's no malicious intent or ill manner behind what he's doing, and maybe, I would argue that a lot of times there is some genuine feelings or actual interest in what he's, in you and what he's saying, that he doesn't really think there's anything wrong with it. Now, I'm not trying to excuse it. Yeah, dude, you love bombed the girl, like you rushed it, but it's more unfortunate. It's not that he's a piece of shit. And that's what a lot of women associate with it. It just sucks that he said this, or did this, and this, but then over the weeks or months, he's acting hot and cold. He's acting a little different. He does a 180 and it's total contrast to what he was doing previously. But does that make him a bad guy? No, just bad pacing. And everyone does it, ladies, because it just happens naturally. Even I love bomb, and I'm a dating coach. Now, of course, I haven't in the last forever because I haven't really been talking to anyone, but everyone does it. Why? Because you become interested in the person. And this is men and women. Women, you do it too. You become interested in the person, and then when you're talking, it's just flirty banter. Then it might become sexual. Then it just might become, interesting. And again, it just naturally unfolds, and there might be some drinks in you. Not saying that's an excuse, but whether it's drinking, it's interest, it's just flirty, it's just how it's unfolding. It just happens, and the context builds up, and before you know it, you or him, someone love bombed the other person. And then maybe later on, weeks later, a month later, 2 months later, he's doing the exact opposite. Why? Because maybe he just doesn't feel the same anymore. Maybe you don't feel the same anymore. Maybe you're not what he thought you were. Maybe doesn't see you long term. Maybe you did something that turned him. There's 1,000 reasons. And so then when a guy or a girl, when they contrast and they act completely different, the woman's like, oh my God, this guy's a piece of shit. Oh my, he's just like all these other guys. No, he's not. And no, you're not, even if you do it. If you love bomb a guy, I don't think you're a bad person. I just think you made a bad decision. Unless, of course, it was with ill manner or malicious intent. Then yeah. But I think a lot of the times, women, you might not agree with me on this. I think when guys do this to you, it's not like you think it is. A lot of women think, believe this or not, a lot of women think a lot of guys out there are just trying to get in their pants and trying to get laid, and will tell a woman anything to just start banging a bunch of women, and get his numbers up. That's not true. That is not the average guy. Even the guy who love bombs. Again, I have done it. Everyone has done it. Every dating coach you watch, every YouTuber you watch, every friend you have has love bombed. Okay, it just happens, whether they know it or not, or they have been called out on it or not. It just is what it is. I just don't want you to automatically assume that you are a bad person for doing it, or that a guy is a bad person for doing it, because you have to understand why you or they did. And a lot of the times, at least in my situation, and again, I'm not excusing that it was the right thing. It's unfortunate it happened. Yeah, maybe you shouldn't have done it, but it happens, and it doesn't mean, that the guy shouldn't get ripped a new one, or you shouldn't get ripped a new one. Like if a girl does it, a guy might be like, "Oh, you just fucking slut, you piece of shit, like you're just a whore," like stuff like that. It's like, no, I'm not. You're not that. You're not those things. You just don't like the guy later on, or maybe the guy just isn't what you thought he was. And that's usually what it is. That's usually what happens. They say all these things at the beginning, which is unfortunate, especially if it doesn't work out later on. But he says all these things, or you say all these things at the beginning, and later on when the person gets to know each other, it's just not what you thought it was, and then you back off and it's a love bomb. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is, ladies, in my videos, I want to focus more on context. Don't judge a guy. Don't judge yourself immediately for your wrongdoings. You're not a bad person. He's not a bad person. It just happens. It's unfortunate. Okay, I'm not trying to excuse it, but just because it happens doesn't mean that all guys are pieces of shits, or that everything he said in the beginning was total BS, and that you should never believe it, and you should never believe another guy in the future, and things like that. You should be wary of it, which again, I teach this stuff in my course, but it doesn't mean someone's a bad person, okay? And I know you all are mature enough to know this, but you kind of have to explain it. And again, what I wanted to say in the beginning, or what I said in the beginning, is I wanted to focus more on context with my videos, because I think a lot of dating coaches, including myself, things are just very black and white, when I think you can come up with a better conclusion or solution for your problems if you start thinking outside the box and you start asking yourself, why? Why is this? Why did that happen? How? And you start putting the pieces together. Just look at things more psychological, okay? So with that being said, ladies, I love you all. Take care and peace.